3, 2, 1. Welcome to Breaking Balance. Redefining work, success, and life balance for all sales and marketing professionals. They are international speakers and coaches straight out of Jersey and the home of Spark Tank Media. Here is your host and co-host, Jeff Lobb and Nikki Brand.
Hey, welcome back to another episode, Breaking Balance. I'm Jeff Lobb. I'm here with Nikki Brand, and we are going to be talking about brand trust. No pun intended, Brand, but it's all about you today.
Can you believe that? That's actually my last name. That's pretty wild, my married last name. But yes, the brand is trust, Jeff. I think this is a really relevant topic right now for sales and marketing professionals, because all around us, right? What is this? Who are we surrounding ourselves with? What do we trust and why? Our own brand, our own business. How are we successful based on who we are and our integrity, right?
This is huge. This couldn't be more timely. And even before all this crazy year 2020 has happened, it was always about like, who are you always listening to? And when you listen to them, why are you listening? Who are they really behind the scenes? And why do you trust them? People make claims to a lot of things. And here we are in this crazy world of, whether it be political or pandemic or, we're still in a sales and marketing professional. We're still hustling. But at the same time, who are we listening to? And where's the distrust now? And why are we trusting people? So we got a lot to cover. I'm super impressed with like this study that you kind of dug deep into, because I think it's shocking to find out what people really believe. And this is really a reason why people are going to do business with you or not. And here's the biggest thing I think people don't realize. There are people not doing business with you and you don't know about it. They won't tell you. They're not going to call you out on it. They just don't show up. And you don't get the business. They're giving it to somebody else. And it is because of the lack of brand trust.
Absolutely. Perception.
And I always tried to like make this scenario for somebody. I said, if you could just see the people who either came to your site, saw you speak, saw you pitch, saw you sell, try and market something.
Right.
If you could just see them leave you or say to you, I'm not doing business with you, because you would be shocked. You'd be in awe. But because they don't tell you, they just don't show up. You just think you're doing fine. You think the company's fine. And yet there are people who don't have that feeling. And
you wonder why.
Yeah, you always wonder why.
Well, you wonder why. And it's interesting because, as we were talking about this, I dug a little bit and I wanted to see out there really what the world's perception is right now. And well, first, Jeff, Edelman, which is one of the biggest PR firms in the world, certainly here in the US, they conduct a huge hundreds of thousands of person survey, and they do a trust barometer, which is very interesting every year. And in this special report, the number one thing right behind price point of brand is actually called brand trust. People are actually going to not do business with certain people anymore because of what they truly believe. And I think we're in the situation, not only because of 2020 and the pandemic, but you can't go to your local news source anymore and really believe it, right?
No.
And it's really disheartening because back in the 50s and the 60s, you turned on the television and that's what you believed.
It was news.
It was news. And now, because you don't have that, you don't know what's leaning towards the right or the left or what's in the middle. We can't trust what's on television anymore. And we can't trust what we hear anymore. So then how do we ourselves stay trustworthy, relevant? What people want to work with us, right?
Yep.
How do we do that when people out there, studies are showing they're going to not work with certain people because they don't trust them anymore? Trust is everything. And especially in this year of feeling like we can't trust, right?
I think this year puts consumers at large and business people in a bigger, sketchier distrust situation in more situations than we ever want to believe.
Right.
Meaning they're going to be always questioning trust a lot more because of this past year. And it's only because we've seen it like you said, you see things on TV. One scientist that you would trust says this, then another scientist that we trust says that. Who's right? Who's wrong? I don't know if there is a place to find right. So you cannot watch a medium or go on a social media platform and right away know that that is the truth.
Exactly.
So I think there's going to be a lot of people questioning and second guessing people's like and trust situation in a sales environment.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that's interesting because another study that I found, Jeff, on PR Week in January, which
January
was
2020.
just before hell broke loose.
This is for all this
Okay.
Yeah. It unleashed.
Millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers were all interviewed, right? And they all said their number one person, people, brand, group that they trusted was the post office.
I can't believe it.
It's true. It's right there.
This
is the post office. Some had said Amazon and Google and FedEx, UPS, but the post office, all three had in there as their most trusted. Now, could the post service absolutely still be? Sure. But what's happened this year is perception. And what's happened is, who are we listening to and what are we watching? And then all of a sudden the perception changes. So that was, 12 months ago.
That's right.
What has changed now this year? So I believe after you see these studies, you see what people, how important this is now. I think a big part of our own success within the sales and marketing professionals is, who are you associating yourself with?
Yeah.
And why? Right?
Yep.
And do you believe in yourself?
Yes.
Do you believe who you say you are? I think that's a really good question.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's we used to call it, I hate to use the term because it's so quaint now, the fake news nonsense, right?
Right.
But before this, there's always fake news. Look, even before all this happened, there was always people who just believed what they heard, right? I come from a lot of stage presentations, right? So a guy gets on stage or a woman gets on stage and says, I was ranked number 3 in the entire world for sales or for my real estate business or for my mortgage business.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, she's ranked number 3, the icon. Like, we never vetted that. We just believed it to be true. We never even knew if it was a half truth. We just looked it up as, oh my God, she's amazing. She's fantastic.
Go with it.
And they put that on their LinkedIn profile. Now it makes it more official because somehow that makes it believable.
Right.
Right. But for all we know, she started in the business 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, and has maybe no track record. The other thing that's my pet peeve, which makes me really nuts, is the people that put things out on social ask people for opinions, meaning I want to trust people. Yeah. So instead of trusting a person who's got experience, an advisor, someone you put it out to strangers in the world, ask them, hey, I'm looking to change my business. What's a good lead source or list? And all these people giving all these crazy ideas. Yep. And for all you know, not one of them did a transaction. And yet you're going to make a business decision based on that. And that's so unvetted.
Yes.
And I watch it happen day in and day out. And I sit there and look at, okay, you asked a question.
Yes.
You got 100 people giving you answers. Still doesn't give you any guidance. And you're going to pick one of them and change your business based on that.
And somehow that value all of a sudden is like up here.
Yeah, that became
really
here. Right.
We have to have that at market value.
That's right. So, I could tell, realistically, I don't even know if you know this, but in the 80s to 90s, I don't like to toot my own horn, but in the 80s and 90s, I was ranked 11 or 12 in the entire country for real estate production.
Really?
Were you? No, I wasn't.
That's the
But
point.
I could get it sold to you.
That's the point right there.
I could just say I was in the top 30 of 30. I can come up with
sold.
You're going to look back to the 80s and 90s. First of all, where did you even find that?
Sold. Exactly. And that's it though, Jeff. It's who and what are we listening to and why is it believable or not? And then just say that's how you marketed yourself.
Yeah. True.
You got on stage, right?
Yep.
He's 11th in the nation for this and that. And then cat's out of the bag. We find out you're not.
Oh.
What? No offense.
Yeah, no, right. Hey, we're there. Yeah. No, it's really not true.
So then what happens? Then what happens to your brand? Then what happens because let me tell you, there's fact checkers out there, right? There are people who are going to want to find you out.
Some. Some will dig deep.
Some will.
Yeah,
And
some
if
will.
they do, what kind of message do you want to put out there about yourself? Because let's face it, you know, in any type of job, we're selling ourselves. This is how, you know, if I'm going to sell a house, I want to convince you I am the most trustworthy real estate agent. I want you to know that I am the gal for you.
Right.
So how does that work? Well, if I'm saying I'm something and then maybe I believe it in my heart, but I'm actually not.
True. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually not. And then that credibility, that is a big part of trust. Is that credibility around yourself?
Well, look, we all screw up too. Like
Sure.
we all have our times, whether we, look,
Sure.
if you got caught lying and coming up with a mistruth, you're trying to spin numbers. And I mean, not that we
Right.
should be doing that, but there are people. What happens then? Or you do something stupid in life. Something happens in the world. You get into some kind of a police situation or something. What do you do next to save that brand? You might have had all this credibility up to this point. One thing happens, derails you, and that happens in life, or could even be
Sure.
like your child derails you and your name's on the paper, whatever that is. How do you get that back? How do you get that back? I know what I would do.
I think I know what I would do. I think, you know, my advice, come out in front of it, man.
Yeah, own it.
Own it. Because what we've learned in this year more than anything is people want real. People want someone who says, I effed up, dude.
Yeah.
People want to hear, you know what, this was tough for me. This was a weakness of mine. You know, I got in some trouble or whatever it is. It becomes human. And I do believe in business, while, you know, it is great to have, like, you know, an incredible track record. We are human beings. We are very, very faulted. And I just think the more we can be real about ourselves, that trust
That's right.
builds.
That's right. When I talk about, a lot of my career history, and people, like, I hate talking about myself, you know that, like I'm an introvert that way. But when people say, hey, listen, how long have you been in the business? I'll tell people, look, for those who've been in the business 20, 30 years, I don't care what salesbusiness.com or large company, I'll tell people I have crashed and burned twice. One through burnout, one that cost me a marriage. Like, I will get into, and I'll tell people, listen, if you ever feel you're getting to those points in life, I will talk to you about those. I'm okay to tell you how I miserably failed and hit rock bottom and how I got myself back up somehow. Sometimes I don't even know myself, and get back out and build again, because we all have that. But that's the human side of being real.
Yes.
Is I've made a lot of mistakes.
Right. But I want to hear that. If I'm going to hire you, Jeff, I want to know that, you know what, this guy is who he says he is.
Yep.
And you have, an imperfect road like all of us. And I think when it comes down to it, like getting ahead of things sometimes, putting yourself out there, depending on what it is, and if you feel comfortable and your brand and how you feel about that, that can actually give you some credibility.
Right. And it's what is it? The Eminem. It's the Eminem 8 Mile effect, right? Did you see Eminem? Have you ever watched 8 Mile?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Right. So, all right.
Come on now.
So look, and look, you might not love the rapping scene, but he did a smart thing.
It.
He got ahead of them by saying, I'm going to take away everything you can say about me. I'm going to take it all away.
Yeah. Right.
Now what are you going to do? Like, I took it away because I have all these faults.
Yeah.
So if I get ahead of it, we remove that. Now, the best thing I think, you see in the public eye, if people, men, women, if you could just man up and own, look, I made a mistake. I screwed up. I'm going to correct it. Here's how I'm going to correct it. I think that comes from a corporate level too. If you're working for a company, they make mistakes more than any sometimes. And then who's left out to dry is the sales rep or the agent.
Right.
They're just hung out there and they're losing customers, but the company's trying to defend. If the company could take that stance too, look, we made a mistake.
Yep.
Here's how we're going to fix it. Here's how the mistake happened. Here's how we're going to prevent it from happening again.
Right.
We want you to trust us again.
Right.
So,
right. Hey, we are a forgivable society. We have seen that over and over again. I said that funny example I was telling you earlier about Hugh Grant and how, this guy, Hugh Grant, we all know him. He's some charming, lovely actor. And he had this gorgeous actress, relationship, and he ended up cheating on her with a hooker. He comes out on David Letterman, tells him about it, and America loves him.
Oh my God, it's
crazy.
crazy.
America loves him and applauds him for being honest.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Hugh Grant's starring in every single 90s rom-com.
Right. And who would have thought?
And he cheated on his girl, and we're okay with it. Why? Because he came out and said, yeah, I did it. So I think part of that brand trust is going back to that, is just knowing that, you know, we all have roads, we've all have our path, we all have our grit. And, you know, surrounding yourself with people that, you know, you can trust,
Yep.
and asking those questions of why and who are they, you know, it comes back to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it gets personal too, because a lot of times, you know, we are selling ourselves
Mhm.
or we're marketing, trying to create a perception. You know, when people do great marketing, they're trying to put a proper spin on things, a proper spin on numbers.
Right.
But at the same time, I think we have to be smart enough to know now that not that you shouldn't believe people for face value, but you need to do a little homework
Yes.
to say, before I invest in a coach, a mentor, someone I'm going to follow, a guru, a book, whatever, understand that there's probably some other story behind it and that it's okay.
Right.
Just make sure it's the right person you want to follow.
Yes.
Or the right company you want to be able to participate in for that right reason.
Absolutely.
Knowing that they're always making mistakes. Everyone's always making mistakes.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I think there's a lot, you know, we talk and part of our podcast, we like to talk about wins, right? Small wins. I really believe that as, you know, the year goes on, any small win is a freaking win at this point.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I'll take it.
And a good takeaway. And I think it's important when we're talking about this, to look at, okay, so where would we be when we're talking about brand trust? Where would we be as our own sales and professionals, marketing, what we're doing out there, who we're connecting with? My takeaway, my thing I would like to put out to people in general is, what are your make or break characteristics for yourself?
Okay.
And for people you're associating yourself with in business? Do you have 3 things to think about? Because I do think when it comes down to why you want to make yourself authentic, want to make yourself believable, sellable, why you want to work with me. Well, these are my must-dos. These are my, you know, non-negotiables. And I think if you stick to those, you know, I mean, could you think of off the top of your head any?
I'm trying to think of my 3.
All right.
So I mean, you want me to?
Yeah. What are your 3?
So my 3, if I had to, I'm probably stuck on 2.
All right. 2.
So we say authentic, but we use that word very loosely. But, you know, I think by sharing personal life and business, because people care about some things, or you could tie in things that are relatable, right? So I'm very relatable.
Yes, relatable.
So that is kind of helping me be authentic. When I'm working with people, I don't want to just make them feel like they matter. They really do matter.
Yes.
So you could tell and read through people who just want to be like, you can almost feel it or scripty. I treat people because they really do matter, and they should feel like they matter.
Yes.
And I also think the characteristic is, I think relationships need to be a two-way street. It's not just about you're going to do business with me, and you're going to do business with me, and you're going to keep giving me business. It's what else can I do for you?
Yes.
And I think you might
active service.
An active service, and sometimes people get stuck. And I literally, this is from a call this morning we were on. Like, let's say I'm in a service business. Maybe I'm in the loan mortgage business. And say, okay, well, I'm getting a loan. You send me a referral for your sister. I get a loan. I get your mother, father, whatever loan. And that's all I do is loans. No, like, what else can you do for that person? Maybe I know somebody that's looking for, you know, an insurance policy.
Right.
Or maybe someone's looking for landscaping. Like, I got to find a way to give back. Because if it's not a two-way street, I don't care what product you're in, even if you're in the pharmaceuticals or something, you got to have other value and other relationships to give back to that person. So it's a two-way relationship.
I agree. I think those are great takeaways, Jeff.
Those are my 3. I mean, that I can think of.
Those are great. And I bet if you really started thinking, you'd go, oh, wait, here's another one. Wait,
Probably.
Here's another one. But I think those 3 are really wonderful. And I think, you know, for our listeners and our viewers out there, you know, if you want to take away something today, what are your 3? What are your non-negotiables in business that really depend on you? And do they match, like, the people that you're doing business with, the people that you're hiring? Does it match who you are? You know, a lot of that alignment. I'm big with alignment. I want to work with people I feel aligned with. If I am not aligned with you, we're not going to share that energy. We're not going to have that connection. And likely, we're not going to make each other money.
That's right.
So being aligned with someone is important. Hey, energy is a real thing. You can feel it right away. You can feel it that,
True.
I don't vibe with you, or, ooh, this person and we're clicking. I'm feeling this,
You could almost determine that in like the first 10, 15 seconds.
Easily,
Like,
easily.
First things come out of your mouth.
I call it an energy meter. I do it all the time. Actually, I also have this thing like when I go into houses and I know if they're haunted or not. That's another day.
Well, you got to walk in.
I got a ghost meter, man. I know. I call it the ghost vibe. But anyway, on staying on topic, I do believe that energy is a big deal when it comes to trust and who you are and who you're associating yourself with. I think integrity is a big one, dude.
Well, how do you define it? Like,
I
it's
think
a word, right? But how do we really?
Well, I'm going to tell you how I feel integrity is defined. I feel like it's people who actually walk their talk, people who actually put their shit out there and who actually are who they say they are. I was telling you, I use my sister as an example.
Yep.
She is really super successful in her business of oils, and it's because she lives and breathes them.
She
literally.
does. Oh yeah.
24/7. 7 days a week, like her whole life. The last 5 years she's been doing this, and she's the go-to. So many people, and I said to her, it's because they trust you.
It's that, and I think also because she's become expert at it.
Absolutely.
And she's visual with it. I mean, if you look at her Instagram stories and stuff, like,
yes,
I pay attention to her stories.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the knowledge, the confidence.
And you've built now. You're building something all the way around. So you're becoming. You've got integrity. People are believing in you. You are walking your talk. It's like a circle, and the more you actually walk your talk.
Maybe just think of something. So I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, my pet peeve of buying a car.
Mm-hmm.
So when if I want to pick up a new Mercedes or a new Toyota, whatever I want to buy, and I walk in and my sales, you get the pitch and it sounds pitchy and I don't even feel good about it. But then I'm in a conversation with this particular salesperson trying to sell me why this car is so good. And I'm like, hey, so cool. What are you driving? And they're driving like a Ford or something, like whatever, something else, a Honda. And I'm like, you don't even believe in your car. And not that they can't afford it. Like I'm that believer. Now I really strongly believe if you're going to try and sell me a product, you should be a user of it that knows it, not everything about it, but at least be a goddamn, to me, you lost me because you don't believe enough into driving it yourself. Why should I buy one? And I know that doesn't maybe fit all things, but at the same time, that's my belief system.
I think that goes right down to business. And this goes directly to who we are speaking to right now. If you do not believe in your own brand, how the hell do you expect someone else to believe in it?
That's right. And I think it's showing that you don't believe in it sometimes. Like if you need to learn like a script to talk about it, or you need words, someone to tell you words, then you don't believe in it yet. Mm-hmm. If you believe in something, you just passionately talk about it.
That's it.
It doesn't have to be in the right format.
Right.
You should just be able to passionately talk about why you like and love and would use this product.
Right.
Tell me.
Right.
Stop talking to me. Stop pitching it to me. Tell me.
And even if it's not a product, even if I am, trying to have you hire me.
Yeah.
Okay. Why me? Well, I have to believe that I am that job. I am of service for you. Yep. And this is why. And I feel like now more than ever, statistics are showing that's what this is all about.
Right. And I think when it comes to, I think we get so caught up in the word sales, like whether we like it or not, everybody, like you said, for a job, you want someone to hire you, use your service. Like everyone's in a sales role.
Yes.
You're either selling yourself, you're trying to convince somebody to do something, you're running for a slot for an election, whatever you're doing.
Yes.
You have to convince people that you're the right person. And and really all of that comes down to is sometimes without even having the whole resume, how do people feel about you? Because trust is a feeling, right?
Sure.
It's a
gut.
It's a gut. So if trust is a feeling and integrity, and I feel you have integrity, that's a feeling. That's all we have to do is work on is how do we get you to feel that way? How do we genuinely make you feel that way?
Yeah.
And I think some people think it has to all be about stuff and features and benefits and this. No, sometimes it needs to be, you got to make me feel good about you, the product or the product.
Exactly.
And I think that's where we get stuck. But you selling yourself, it's about how are you authentic? How are you this? How do I feel you're the right person for this job? Even if your resume wasn't even qualified,
right?
I still hire you.
Absolutely. Sometimes life experience counts for a lot.
That's right.
It really does.
100%.
The road, the grit, it matters. I really believe that it matters. So,
well, I think, we probably threw enough like ideas out there, but at the same time, this isn't like a thing that goes away.
Yeah. This is reoccurring.
We watch people with reviews. We watch people that watch a commercial on, or see an ad, and the first thing they do is go to their phone.
Yeah.
And so we know there's mistrust.
Yeah.
Like when people, the top 3 things that even Google will tell you, if they see an ad on, someone sees an ad on TV, if you watch TV or Netflix or whatever you're watching, and you kind of buy into like, oh, I want to check that. You don't believe that. You then go to your phone and you're like, and now I'm Googling. But what am I looking for?
Right.
I'm looking for reviews.
You're looking for some random person.
Some stranger
You're looking
that
for
said,
a
oh,
random.
that was awesome.
You're looking for a random.
So the whole thing is skewed.
Yes.
And then obviously 10 people say this is great. One person's in there ranting about how crappy you were.
Right.
But we're vetting strangers versus trying to find somebody that might really have firsthand experience with the product.
So we have to really ask ourselves that too, because I think we live in this world of, you know, what people all of a sudden say about us matters. And we have to say, okay, how much does that matter?
Yeah.
Who is that person?
True.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we get over that hump? Because there are going to be bad reviews. There are going to be naysayers. There are going to be people out there who said, that person isn't who they say it is. How do you keep going, right?
I think we have to learn that there isn't going to be a source that's going to give us what we call now the truth.
Yes.
We have to figure out and do our own homework, and we don't spend enough time doing it. And I think we make this big mistake on social too. We do the same thing. We vet everything on social. We have strangers. And I think the other problem that's happening too is the amount of people we're losing trust with based on all this stuff happening. I call it social damage.
Total.
Which could be another whole rant for us to go down.
Yes.
But at the same time, how much business are you losing and how much trust are you losing based on your beliefs you're putting out there? Remember, let's just say everything's divided 50-50 in this world right now because everyone has this side or this side, and you put out something on one side, you're losing 50% of the other side. And you might say, I don't give a crap. You might not, but here's what I remember in the beginning. They're not going to tell you they're leaving you.
They're just going to do it.
They're just not going to buy from you. They're just not going to ever call you.
Exactly. You got to be real careful with that stuff now. So, we know we got a lot of passion. We got a lot of heat in this year. A lot of heat. We got
you will never know who I have to bite my tongue.
You'll never know. I'll never put it out there.
Nope, me neither.
People will not know my beliefs in that because it's something, you know, it's something I hold very sacred.
Do you know how many times I was typing and typing?
Yeah,
like,
and then you go,
delete.
No.
I've been forced to delete.
Yes.
Because I know it will cost me not only just business, but relationships.
Hey, you want to know what my dad gave me great advice right before I went to college? He said, if you have to think twice, don't do it.
That's pretty good. I like that. If you have to think twice. Sometimes I think twice about a lot of things.
But if you really have to think twice, like, should I do this?
There's your answer.
Yeah, he told me that before I
went
wild 4 years of school. I had to
that could be another whole series.
That's a whole other series. Oh God,
we might have to do a disclaimer for that one.
That's good.
All right, so I think the word of the day here is not one word. The thought of the day here is to learn to start being smarter about who you're following, who you're watching, and to do more homework.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know if you have a final thought. I have maybe one final thought, but is there any one thing that comes to mind as like one message?
I think our perception is key a lot. And I think really asking ourselves, you know, do I align with the people I'm doing business with? Do I value myself? Do I value them? Do I see myself in the people I'm doing business with? And would I want to hire me? And what am I saying about me?
Yes.
I think it's, you know, along with my characteristics, my non-negotiables. I think, you know, getting inward sometimes and really finding out who we are and who we want to do business with, it says a lot about ourselves. That's my takeaway.
I think, you know, I think if anything feels like a sale or sounds like a sale, it shouldn't be a sale. Anything that sounds like, because to me, that's not the authenticity.
Right.
You're losing me. If you trust me and like me, and I provided you with a solution to a problem, I think at that point, I'm giving you enough to make a good business decision. And I want you to make a decision, not necessarily buy something.
Right.
So I think you have to position yourself in a different way of how you see that. And I always look at like, would I invite this person over to my house? And a lot of times that may not be the case. So I don't need to do business. So those are my takeaways.
There we go, Jeff. I love it. I love it.
So brand. All right. So brand trust with brands.
Yep.
We're going to wrap this baby up. Hopefully we'll catch you guys soon. Share us your feedback.
Yes. Love to hear it.
Our email, breakingbalance@smarttechmedia.com. We saw a lot of activity on social. Got some great notes from the last session.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So share away. And if you want us to talk about something maybe that's bugging you on your mind,
give us a topic.
we'll
go there.
We'll dissect it.
We'll go there.
All right. See you guys soon.
All right, bye.
Ciao.
Peace.